Hi there, beautiful souls watching. Thank you and welcome. I'm Gabrielle, retired medium in Germany, and I like to share some of my otherworldly experiences and insights. So this one is about how I learned to receive and give messages. Well, after or in the middle or in between my mediumship trainment, when we tried out all the psychic senses, as there are feeling and seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and knowing, So I had the experience that I can get information by using my psychic senses, but I did not understand how it works to give messages or to receive it. So at the end of our trainment, our teachers assembled the whole group in a very big room, and we were, I think, 70 or 80 people doing the trainment. And then they just threw us into the cold water, and they said, well, just by a prayer, they opened up kind of the circle and the space and invited deceased ones, loved ones to come and give messages. And then they just left it there. And there was a man who stood up from one point of the circle, walked through the whole room to the other half of the circle to a special woman sitting there. And I already scratched my head, how does he know to go to this person? And then he started staying in front of her, telling, I can see a figure standing behind you, because deceased ones, loved ones, they very often stand close to you and a little behind you. And then he described the person that he saw, and the woman in the circle, getting this kind of message, already confirmed and said, yes, that looks very much like my grandmother, and she was always dressed that way. And he said a few things like a nickname, and she said, yes, that's the nickname my grandmother always gave me. And then he gave the message the grandmother had for this person, and the person was happy and lucky and smiling all over the face, because it was something of value for her. But I could not understand how this works. I scratched my head and thought, how does he know where to go to? And how does he get the message? Because even focusing on the person and what happened there with the man giving the message to the person, I did not perceive anything. I couldn't see the deceased person, and I didn't know how this worked. So after that, some other tried it and did quite well. And then our teachers separated us into small groups with 4 or 5 people, and they asked us to form kind of a half circle, and always one from the group is stepping out of this half circle and is standing in front of the half circle. And that's the person who is kind of in this position, ready to receive a message. And then someone from the half circle of trainees who gets some kind of sign or feels a calling, a pull, whatever, steps forward and delivers the message to the person standing in front of the half circle. So we did that with 4 or 5 people, and I still didn't know how it worked. And all the others from the half circle stepped forward and gave some messages, and I also was standing in front of the circle and receiving a message. And then back in the half circle, it was my turn to deliver a message, and I still didn't know how to do that. And I was standing there trying to focus and get into a receptive state. Of course, you have to step aside with your ego. And I suddenly felt something or someone was tucking my sleeve. And I looked there, and there was no one there. And then I looked there again with closed eyes, with my inner eye, and I saw a little elf, maybe 50 or 60 centimeters, just kind of up to my knees, with the pointed red hat, and he was tucking my sleeve to get my attention. And when I saw him with my inner eye, I was so happy that someone was there at least. And then I understood, oh, they come to you. Not you choose out which deceased loved one or whatever you give a message from. They choose you to deliver the message. And they also show you to which person it is. So that was interesting. But as my mediumship trainers, my teachers, were in the English tradition, so they only accepted deceased loved ones, because they say they are bound with you by the bonds of love, and they won't do you any harm. With any other spirit, you never know, and you don't know who's on the other side of kind of the line you're talking to. And there are some methods to get information about that. If you can't verify the person as a grandmother or an uncle or whoever, then you have to check the message, and if the message is positive, then you can go on and deliver it. But they weren't talking about, elves or fae or something like that giving message. So I was kind of a bit confused, because it wasn't a deceased loved one, but a little elf. And the message he was giving felt very positive to me, so I delivered it to the person standing in front of the half circle. And it was about plants and her garden, and she was very much into homeopathy and plants and things like that. So she was very happy with the message and the advice she got via me from this little elf. But I'm sure if my teachers would have witnessed that, they would have stopped it right there, because they only accept the deceased ones. And I was always kind of the one who did not fit in. I got things that were kind of a little bit off or whatever. But at least with the person I delivered the message to from the elf, she was totally happy, and it made sense to her, and it was of value. So that's the only thing that's important for me. And then later on, they even trained us, our teachers, to go on stage every evening during the workshop. That was 4 or 5 days around a weekend. So more or less everybody had to go on stage once, sit there with other 5 or 6 trainees, and give message to the public. That were 60 or 70 persons sitting in front of you. But because they all were kind of colleagues and other trainees, and I knew them from the coffee breaks, some of them a little bit better, so there was this kind of familiar feeling, and it wasn't that much of a stress, or you have to perform. I think only egos have to perform. If you deliver a message, you're kind of in a different state, and yeah, it's something different. So I was ordered onto stage the next evening, and I was kind of stressed, and I thought, wow, if there's coming an elf again, they will take me from the stage. And luckily, when I felt something, I felt drawn to a person really sitting in the last row. And but I could identify very quickly to whom I had to go with that message. And it was, luckily, a deceased grandma who was delivering a message through me. And the person really acknowledged it and was happy with the message. So that's how I learned. You just have to prepare and be open, and you have to know about yourself that you're not projecting something. That's what the whole training of mediumship trainment is for, that you make a lot of experiences with different exercises and try out the different senses to find out where is your most potential, in which sense. I'm clear-sentient, and by training in mediumship circles with exercises and other colleagues and trainees, you can learn a lot more about how to use your senses and how to get the impressions. You have to prepare for it and create a kind of meditative alpha brainwave state that you're in, and then you open up and you just invite positive beings, positive messages of light and love. I would not invite something else. And then just wait for it, but without a public, someone to deliver a message to, like in the setting of a public demonstration of mediumship. It's different, you know, one-on-one in sessions with clients or with people you meet somewhere else. You better not talk without being asked for it about things you perceive from this person or about her or around her, because only if the person is interested and wants to know something of this kind, then you're kind of, that's the first law, more or less, in the cosmos: never interfere, like in Star Trek. You don't give messages if you are not invited and asked by a person that wants that knowledge. If you walk around and throw everything at everyone, I think you only get a lot of negative reaction, like doubt or dismissing or even blaming you or whatever. And I know it's kind of hard in the beginning to not talk about all this, but you better keep quiet in the beginning and don't run around and tell everybody what you perceive about him when you are not asked and the person does not want to know that. So that's very important. I did the mistake myself, and I had to learn the hard way. Was quite painful because I couldn't keep my mouth shut, and I tried and said some things to friends or people around, and that never had a good ending. So that's how I learned to prepare and get contact with other beings to deliver messages. And I wanted to share this story with you because in the beginning I didn't know and I couldn't understand with my normal brain how this works. Yeah, it's working differently. But they are waiting more or less on the other side, and they're always happy to have contact, and they try to make themselves visible or noticeable to people where they maybe still have some unfinished business. They didn't tell their son or their daughter that they are proud of them and that they love them, and things like that. Might sound quite common, but in the actual situation, the person that needs to hear this, for them it's the best that it is coming, even if it's kind of posthum. My own father, who was a very rational guy and never believed in something like that, after he deceased, took some time, but I think it was 1 year after that, that he approached me, and he came through in some of the exercises during my mediumship trainment. And yes, he exactly gave me that message that I longed for my whole life, because I never felt that he accepted me. I felt like the black sheep of the family, and everything I thought or felt or did was kind of wrong or off or strange or weird or whatever. I always felt I don't fit in. And I missed the kind of acknowledgement of just my being. And then my father once came and he gave me a kiss and he said, "I'm so sorry that I never acknowledged you, and I'm so proud of you now, what you are doing. I did not believe it when I was on the living side with the body, but now on the other side, I know it's all true. And I'm so proud that you are doing that and that you're helping people, and that now I even can communicate with you, which wouldn't be possible otherwise." So that's it. I want to leave you with that. Blessings, dear ones, love and light onto your path. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.